Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard. 1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has one. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means one can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb, and these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker. After 49 people were killed at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, cops were investigating the scene, and you'd think it'd be pretty quiet in there. But it was actually filled with sounds of ringing cell phones. Friends, family members, loved ones, calling the people that they knew were at Pulse and hoping they'd answer the phone and say they were okay.
This is what would happen if you stopped sleeping. After the first 24 hours, you would feel great, which is because early on, sleeplessness stimulates a part of your brain that causes you to feel happy and energetic. But not long after this 24-hour mark, you'll start to feel sluggish, be forgetful, and appear drunk to other people. After 2 full days of not sleeping, your body would appear to lose all its energy and feel like it's shutting down. Just because your body can't properly metabolize glucose without sleep. After 3 days, your skin would become pale, your eyes would become red, and you'll start to hallucinate. Which means that your worst nightmares are going to appear real right in front of your eyes, kind of like sleep paralysis, but you're awake. And after 2 full weeks, your immune system would be so weak that the common cold would be enough to unalive you. And after 3 full weeks, there's a super high chance that you'll have a heart attack. But let me know, what was the longest you ever went without sleeping?
Most Scary Urban Legends, Part 9. This is La Mala Hora. She is a wicked spirit from New Mexico and wanders on roads at night. She attacks those who walk alone, and she is more feared than the devil itself. She first appears as a large black lump, constantly moving and changing shapes. She can also change size rapidly, growing larger or smaller. Anybody who makes eye contact with her gets driven insane. She also hypnotizes and paralyzes people who encounter her at night. When she attacks, she rushes at you at great speed, then wraps around you and suffocates you till you die. If you ever see her in human form, it means somebody you know or love is going to die. So if you see La Mala Hora and something terrible doesn't happen to you, it's gonna happen to somebody you love.
How long a human would survive in Earth's eras? Precambrian era. Less than 5 minutes. Paleozoic era. Hours to a day. Mesozoic era. Minutes to a few hours. Cambrian period. Seconds to minutes. Cenozoic era. Days, 2 weeks with skills and luck. Quaternary period. Months or more.
People who gained real-life superpowers after an accident. Jason Padgett was a party-loving underachiever in school, but a brutal mugging outside a karaoke bar left him with a severe concussion. This injury turned him into a math whiz. When Derek Amato was 39, he dove into a swimming pool, hitting his head. This led to a concussion and 35% hearing loss. Following this, Derek began to suddenly visualize piano keys and was suddenly able to play piano like a pro. In 2015, Ben McMahon was in a car crash and ended up in a coma for a week. Upon awakening, he was speaking flawless Chinese, a language that he had only learned the basics of in his youth. Tony Ciceria was struck by lightning while using a phone booth. Within days, he developed a passion for music, which he didn't have previously. After trying his hand at the piano, he soon became a popular music artist and has composed several of his own melodies.
Creepiest things kids have ever said. A man's mother passed away in a car accident when he was 6 years old. When his 2-year-old daughter saw a picture of her grandmother for the first time, she laughed. He asked her, "What's so funny?" She looked at him and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." A man's 3-year-old daughter stood next to her newborn brother and looked at him for a while. She turned back to her dad and said, "Daddy, it's a monster. We should bury it." A woman and her 4-year-old son were out in public when all of a sudden he starts rubbing on her belly and talking to it. She asked what he was doing and he said, "I'm talking to the baby." She informed him politely that she was not pregnant and then he said, "There is a baby in your belly. I just saw it crawl across the floor and climb up into you." A woman's 5-year-old asked when he was going to be 23 years old. She told him in 18 years. He replied, "Well, I hope I don't die again because that's how old I was the last time I went to heaven." Follow for more of the...
Yo, what's up? These are horrifying facts, part 1. In June of 1972, a woman who resembled a mannequin walked into the hospital wearing only a bloody gown. Although the lady was covered in blood, she stayed expressionless, but her face was perfectly intact and she had the same dexterity and fluidity as any normal person would. But it wasn't until what happened later that caused people to start to vomit and flee the scene. When she was rushed through the emergency room, they thought the best thing they could do was restrain her with straps, and she didn't fight back. After saying nothing for hours, the lady finally turned her head and looked at the male doctor and whispered something quietly. The nurses then fled and filled the hospital with screams of terror when they realized her teeth weren't normal and that she had razor-sharp, animal-like teeth. When all the nurses cleared the room, the male doctor stayed, and what she whispered was, "I am God."
Facts that could save your life. The last one is important, so make sure to save this video. When about to get into an Uber, never ask, "Are you Uber?" Instead, ask who they are picking up. If a whale swallows you whole, curl up in a ball. This will make you smaller and prevent you from being torn apart. Did you know you could see who your worst enemy is? Your secret hater is the first person who appears when you click share and click more. If an alligator grabs you, shove your fingers into its nose. This will break the seal that alligators need to breathe and will force them to release you. 1 out of 10 people share the same cell phone as you. Comment down below what cell phone you're using and find out how many people have the same one as you. By the way, this is mine. If there's a nuclear explosion, lay face down on the floor. Put your thumbs in your ears and your fingers covering your eyes. Since you're laying down, the shockwave will most likely pass over you. Before we get to the last fact, support me by clicking the follow button for more interesting facts every day. If you wake up in the middle of the night and your house smells like gas, do not turn on the light. A spark from a switch can blow up your entire house.
Let's take a look at this photo. This was the final picture found on the phone of Jennifer Grin, and it's also the man that police have definitively ruled was most likely the one that ended her. Jennifer was ambitious, she was adventurous, she went on this solo cross-country trip where she would be visiting different campsites. She actually made her way all the way to the Blue Creek Cavern campsite, but she almost immediately went back to the ranger station because she wanted to report this man, this strange man that she saw watching her while she was swimming in the lake. But she does end up kind of laughing this off as if it's not a huge deal, and she eventually returns to her campsite alone. But that same man that she reported is who we believe was seen in the final picture. When she had never contacted her family, rangers eventually went searching, where they found her brutalized at her campsite. Her phone was recovered, which showed this.
I need to know how you feel about abandoned water parks, because if you're anything like me, you hate this. Look at this in the water. That shouldn't be there. That's supposed to float, not sink. Why is abandoned places, number one, terrifying, but also abandoned amusement parks and water parks so much worse? This image with the graffiti, that's actually beautiful. I don't like this though. This is still water. Icky. We got Cosmo and Wanda, or more recently, Elphaba and Glinda. The pipes in the water of this one in particular sends me over the edge. I have a huge phobia of pipes and water. Call me stupid, make fun of me all you want. This is icky, and I know I'm not the only one. Imagine that you're exploring an abandoned water park late at night and you decide to go in there and you get stuck and there's no one to save you. I don't like that. Why am I scaring myself? Like, that's not safe, dude. That's not, please get down. Please get down. I'm gonna call your mom. Like, why? Why do people do this? I just don't like the fact that nature is taking this place back. It's beautiful. Terrifying, though. So, yeah. How do you feel? Terrifying, right? Or am I dumb yet again?
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Ronaldo Doxa, a politician in the Philippines, took a picture of his family right before he was assassinated on New Year's Day in 2011. The man in the back shot him twice while his family was forced to watch. The man holding the puppy is Yukio Araki, a kamikaze pilot who just one day later would crash into the USS Brian, killing 66 of the crew members and taking his own life. Yukio was only 17 years old, knowing completely well that he'd be going to his death the next day. The smiling man in this photo is Nazi Joseph Goebbels, who is in a 1933 League of Nations meeting, and in the next photo, his expression completely changes. His expression changes from cheerful to hatred because someone told him that the photographer was of Jewish descent. This seemingly normal photo shows three men in judo attire. The man on the right, however, is Osama bin Laden, the terrorist responsible for the 9/11 attacks on New York City. The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right. This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public.
The 3 largest birds in the world. Number 3. The ostrich, native to Africa, is the heaviest and largest bird in the world. It can measure up to 2.7 meters in height and weigh up to 150 kilograms. Despite its imposing weight, the ostrich is capable of running at speeds of 72 kilometers per h, making it exceptional among birds. It cannot fly, but it has strong legs that allow it to cover long distances quickly. Number 2. The cassowary, also known as the helmeted cassowary, is native to the tropical forests of New Guinea and northern Australia. This impressive bird can reach up to 2 meters in height and weigh up to 60 kilograms. Recognizable by its bony helmet on its head and its shiny blue skin, it is considered one of the most dangerous birds in the world due to its sharp claws that can inflict serious injuries. Number 1. Oh yes, before we continue, support me by subscribing and liking my video. The wandering albatross is famous for having the largest wingspan among all living birds, reaching up to 3.4 meters. These majestic seabirds spend most of their lives flying above the oceans, traveling thousands of kilometers without landing. Although they are lighter compared to the ostrich and the cassowary, their ability to glide for hours is a sight to behold.
Some more creepy submechanophobia and thalassophobia images that creep me out super bad. Once again, anchor chains should not be as scary as they are going into the ocean like that. My stomach dropped when I saw this photo on Pinterest. Do you know what that is? Those are wartime ships' cannons. Underwater. Flooded. I hate that. What's he reaching for? What's he reaching for? This photo I'm going to share every single time I see it because it absolutely terrifies me, and I'm going to London in 2 weeks and I am so scared to be in a plane going over the ocean. I am terrified. I know this one's fake, but it doesn't stop me from pooping my pants. This is an animatronic in water, but it actually just looks like me when I'm yelling for my mom because I forgot my towel in the shower. And these photos that I saw on Pinterest of some dude that loves to just free dive with some sunken ships. That is vile. And here's another one that he posted. I can't even tell what part of the ship this is, but extremely disturbing. How do you feel?
Everyone always talks about Annabelle, but there are so many other terrifying objects inside of the Warren Museum, like their shadow doll that can be used for curses. Also follow along if you want me to go through more of their collection. Now, according to the Warren files, the origins of the shadow doll are a little murky, but the story goes that a couple found it inside of an antique shop and brought it home with them. And immediately they started noticing that something was wrong with it. They would wake up in the middle of the night with mysterious scratches and bruises all over their body. And also, the closer they looked at it, the more they could tell that it was made with real human and animal materials. Like you can see here, it has black crow feathers all around its head, but it also has one real human tooth lodged inside of its mouth. They also realized that this doll can be used to perform curses. If you take a picture of it, print out the photo, write someone's name on the back and mail it to them, that is how you do the shadow doll curse. And what this basically does is that person will then start having nightmares about the shadow doll, and when the shadow doll is in your dreams or nightmares, that is how it can kill you. Now, I talked about this doll in this episode that I did over the summer on Annabelle's whole curse tour that she was doing, but this is one of the objects from the Warren Museum that they take on tour, so you can go see this thing out in the wild. But yeah, while everyone's focused on Annabelle, there's other really freaky things that are inside of that museum.
The 3 fastest animals in the world. Only 0.1% can name them all, can you? Number 3, the cheetah. Now this cat is the real deal when it comes to speed. It has this amazing ability to accelerate super fast, allowing it to reach these crazy speeds almost instantly. Just picture this. It can run as fast as 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour, making it one of the fastest animals on land. Now imagine, you're running as fast as a car on a highway. Number 2. Next up, we've got the black marlin. This fish is known for its crazy speed underwater. It can reach up to about 80.78 miles per hour or 130 kilometers per hour. It's pretty much like an underwater missile. But before we move on to the top spot, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and favorite this video. Number 1. And now, in the top spot, we have the peregrine falcon. This bird's got razor-sharp wings and a hunting method that will literally take your breath away. It can hit speeds over 198.84 miles per hour or 320 kilometers per hour when it's diving down to catch its prey. It's the fastest predator in the animal kingdom, the king of the skies. It's as if Superman himself turned into a bird. Now imagine, you're moving as fast as these creatures, sprinting at a pace that makes your head spin, or swimming through the ocean's depths with the grace of a ballet dancer. What would you do with speed like that? Let me know in the comments. And remember, don't forget to subscribe.
These are facts that'll make you get off social media, part 1. This man's name is Michael Woods Manzi, and in 1975 he killed a 5-year-old boy by stabbing him through the heart. He had a journal where he took notes about the child and how he was dying. He then cannibalized the 5-year-old. But what's even crazier is that he was released from prison after 12 years on good behavior in 2011. Next up, this woman's name is Lamora Williams, and she murdered her 2 sons by throwing them both in her oven and cooking them alive. And if that's not bad enough, she sent a video to the 2 boys' father. This is actually insane, and I can't believe people like this exist.
Someone just asked an autonomous AI to destroy humanity, and this is what happened. The AI, fittingly named Chaos GPT, was even placed in continuous mode, which prompted a danger warning saying that it may cause the AI to run forever and carry out actions that one would not normally authorize. Bloody great start. But what's even more terrifying given what's happening in the world right now, the first thing that it started doing was researching nuclear weapons, implying that the easiest way for humanity to go extinct is to incite nuclear war. I think our presidents are doing a pretty good job at that already, but thanks. Once the AI concluded that a Soviet Union nuclear device is the most destructive weapon ever detonated, it started on its next plan, trying to get humans to join its cause. It seemed to think that Twitter was the social platform of choice for this, and it posted calling humans selfish and destructive creatures and committed to eliminating us all. Good luck with only 2 likes, you loser. It then attempted to recruit other AI agents, and even devised a plan to deceive them to ignore their peaceful programming. And thankfully for us, that's when the worrying demonstration was ended.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, part 3. The first firefighter killed in 9/11 attacks was struck dead by a falling body in the courtyard. One of them was killed on his way in, and the other was killed on his way out. Right now, there are tiny little bugs on your face munching on your dead skin. Your bones are wet. If you don't have kids, you will break an unbroken line of children that has gone on for tens of millions of years. A scientist studying death asked a man who was about to be executed by a guillotine if he would blink after his head was chopped off. He ended up blinking for 30 seconds. Most laugh tracks for TV shows were recorded in the early 1950s, meaning that you hear dead people laugh. If you're attacked by a bear, it won't try to kill you like other predators. Instead, it'll just start eating you. One day, someone will mention you for the last time, then they'll never ever mention you again.
The case of Takahiro Shiraishi, the man known here in Japan as the Twitter killer, shocked this country. It all came into light in 2017 when police were searching for a woman who turned out to be one of his victims. Her dismembered body was found in his flat near Tokyo. Shiraishi then admitted to killing 9 people. They were suicidal victims whom he was in contact with on Twitter. He told them that he could help them die, and in some cases claimed that he would kill himself alongside them. 9 dismembered bodies were found in cooler boxes and in toolboxes in his house. During his trial, the prosecution asked for his execution. His defense team, however, asked for a more lenient sentence, citing murder by consent. And what was remarkable during the trial is that the killer himself, Shiraishi, contradicted his defense team and said that he killed those victims without consent. The judge described him as cunning and cruel and completely responsible for his murders. Today, he was executed, the first time that Japan enacts capital punishment in 3 years.
Scary facts you'll wish you never knew. Part 2. Being buried alive used to happen so often that people invented safety coffins, with a rope you could pull to ring a bell and let people know you're still alive. If you get a blood transfusion and get the wrong type of blood, one of the symptoms is a sense of impending doom. In 1975, the CIA had a heart attack gun. It would give someone a heart attack, then the dart would melt after entering the body, leaving no trace behind. One reason that crows and ravens are so associated with death is because they would often follow armies as they marched to battle. Being extremely intelligent, they realized that a large group of armed men marching in one direction meant that there would be a tasty meal to eat soon afterwards. Polar bears are one of the only animals that are thought to actively hunt humans. Around 30% of people reported missing have actually been killed by the person who reported them missing. Throughout your lifetime, you walk past around 36 murderers. 30 people die every year, getting crushed from shaking a vending machine. Finally, the astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger most likely didn't die until they hit the water miles below the initial explosion.
You are sentenced to life imprisonment.
26 years later, this woman helped free the man who shot her in the face. On July 27, 1990, 28-year-old Debbie Bakery was out with her friends in Tampa, Florida for the first time since having her second child. She was walking back to her car to go home when a 13-year-old Ian Manuel pulled a gun on her in an attempt to rob her. He was reportedly being peer pressured by older teenagers to rob someone. He ended up shooting her through the mouth, which blew out a portion of her jaw and ripped out a part of her tongue. But somehow she survived. 3 days later, Ian was arrested and confessed to the crime. He pleaded guilty to armed robbery and attempted murder, and at just 13 years old, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Trying to recover, Debbie had to undergo about 40 dental procedures to rebuild her teeth and gums. Then around Christmas in 1991, Ian called Debbie from prison asking for her forgiveness. They both stated that that phone call turned into a lifelong friendship where Debbie forgave him over time. They then began exchanging dozens of letters to each other where Debbie encouraged Ian to get his GED. Debbie went on to say, quote, "He was so young, it was a mistake, it wasn't hard to forgive him," end quote. Ian went on to say, quote, "She became a mother to me, she helped me grow up," end quote. Then, 26 years later, in 2017, Ian was released from prison at 40 years old. This was after a Supreme Court decision that prohibited life sentences for juveniles charged with anything less than murder and with Debbie's advocacy. Debbie was there waiting for him at his release. Ian is now living in Alabama and is writing a memoir about his story. He is doing his best to readjust to society. Debbie stated, quote, "My life wasn't lost, and I felt like his punishment was way beyond what it should have been," end quote. Debbie says that she hopes her friendship with Ian will inspire others to forgive. She went on to say, quote, "We all make mistakes. Life is so short, and if anyone knows how your life can be gone in 1 minute, it's me. We have to forgive because it helps us heal," end quote.
7 days before this murder-suicide, she was being investigated for $600,000 in theft. Emily Long was an operations manager for a popular chicken shop in Boston called Wingett's. Back in June, the owner of the chain restaurant and his bookkeeper went through the records and noticed that there were a large number of checks that were written out to Long. That day, when they found the inconsistencies and the discrepancies with the checks, he confronted her and asked her to provide 3 months worth of her bank statements. She did not provide those bank statements until August 5th. When he was reviewing her bank statements, he called the bank to make sure that the information she provided was correct, and they let him know that she edited them, that they were not correct. He then went back to Long and said, "Things aren't making sense. You need to follow me to the bank." She declined. He knew that her husband had just been diagnosed with brain cancer. He was very sympathetic to what she was going through. So he said, "Okay, you can go home. Go with me on August 11th to the bank. If not, I'm filing a report against you for theft." Emily never went to the bank with him. She actually ended up telling the owner of the chain restaurant, "You can either fire me or I can resign." That's when he chose to file an embezzlement claim for over $600,000 against her. 7 days after he submitted that claim to the police station for the embezzlement, she took the lives of her husband, her 2 young children, and herself. Owner of Wingett's never saw this coming. He said when he found out that she had done what she did, he was very devastated, and he actually doesn't plan to get any of the money that she stole for him back from her estate, because he knows that she left her young toddler behind, and he doesn't want to take any money out of that child's pocket. Now, we have no idea if she did this to her family because of stress or because of the embezzlement, but all facts are pointing to the embezzlement. This story is alleged as of right now. It is being posted by news articles. I just recapped everything from the Boston Globe. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments.